The Last Guardian. Captain Maya Chen stared out at the vast starfield from the bridge of the UES Defiance. The ship's lights were dimmed to minimum, both to maintain crew alertness and to reduce their energy signature. As Earth's most advanced warship and the pride of the United Earth Fleet, the Defiance represented humanity's final hope. 8 months ago, the Astrine Empire had launched a devastating first strike against Earth's outer colonies. Within weeks, they had decimated nearly 70% of the human fleet with their superior technology and ruthless efficiency. Now Earth stood isolated, surrounded by Astrine warships, with only scattered pockets of resistance fighting from the shadows. "Status report," Chen commanded, her voice steady despite the weight of responsibility pressing down on her shoulders. At 39, she had served in the Earth fleet for over 20 years, but nothing had prepared her for being humanity's last line of defense. "Stealth systems operating at maximum capacity, Captain," Lieutenant Reyes reported from his station. "Current probability of detection is below 2%. Chen nodded, careful not to show her relief. The Defiance possessed something special. Experimental cloaking technology that rendered it nearly invisible to Astrine sensors. That, and the weapon that might save humanity. "Engineering, status of the severing protocol?" she asked. Chief Engineer Kato's voice came through the comm system. "The quantum disruptor is stable, Captain. Power levels at 94% and holding. All systems are in the green. The severing protocol." Even the name had been classified until a month ago. Developed in secret by Earth's best quantum physicists, it was unlike any weapon created before, not designed to destroy ships or planets, but to sever the neural connections that bound the Astrine Hive military together. When Earth's intelligence division had managed to capture an Astrine officer 6 months ago, they'd made a stunning discovery. The entire Astrine military operated as a neural network, with each soldier and ship connected through quantum entanglement to a central hub on their homeworld. It made them devastatingly efficient in battle, but potentially vulnerable to the right kind of attack. If the severing protocol worked, it would be the perfect countermeasure against an enemy with overwhelming force. If it worked. "Commander Wallace, time to destination," Chen asked her second in command. "Approximately 16 hours at current velocity, Captain," Wallace replied, his normally cheerful face now serious. "Navigation has plotted our approach to avoid their defensive lines." Chen stood and walked to the tactical display. Stars and planetary systems glowed in three-dimensional projection, with red indicators showing known Astrine forces. They were already deep in what had once been human-controlled space. Dr. Rivera, their chief science officer, had called it a suicide mission during their final briefing. No one had disagreed. Their orders were simple yet nearly impossible. Take the Defiance deep into enemy territory, reach the Astrine homeworld of Astria Prime, and deploy the severing protocol against their central neural hub. "Captain," called Communications Specialist Park, "I'm detecting transmissions between nearby Astrine patrol vessels." The bridge fell silent. "Can they see us?" Chen asked, her heart rate spiking despite years of combat training. "Negative," Reyes confirmed after checking his readings. "They show no sign of sensor lock. It appears to be routine communications." Chen nodded, her shoulders relaxing slightly. "Continue monitoring and inform me of any changes." She made a circuit of the bridge, stopping briefly at each station. The crew was young. Many veteran officers had fallen in the initial attacks, but they were the best Earth had left, chosen specifically for this mission. "Captain," said Tactical Officer Zhao, "I've been analyzing Astrine fleet movements based on recent intelligence. They've significantly increased patrols in the Centauri sector." "That's not on our planned route," Wallace noted. "No, but it suggests they may be anticipating something," Zhao replied. "They've diverted substantial forces there." Chen considered this information. "Good. That means fewer ships where we're actually going." Earth scientists had determined that the Astrine Empire's military infrastructure operated on a centralized neural system. Their ships, weapons, and even battle strategies were all connected to a single command hub on their homeworld. The system was incredibly efficient, but had one critical vulnerability. If that hub could be disrupted, their entire military might collapse. The severing protocol was designed to exploit exactly that weakness. At the rear of the bridge, Dr. Rivera was reviewing data on her tablet. "Captain, I've completed my analysis of the protocol's theoretical effectiveness based on everything we know about Astrine neural technology. I estimate an 89% chance of success if we can deploy within optimal range." "And if we can't get optimal range?" Chen asked. Rivera hesitated. "The effectiveness drops significantly beyond 500 meters from the target. At 1,000 meters, it might not work at all." Chen nodded grimly. Their mission required not just reaching Astria Prime, but getting close enough to their central command center to deploy the protocol effectively. "Meal rotation in 30 minutes, announced Wallace. "You should eat something, Captain." Chen almost smiled. Wallace was always concerned about the crew's well-being, especially hers. "I'll eat later. First, I want to review the latest intelligence from our hidden outposts." The war had gone badly from the start. The Astrine Empire possessed superior numbers, superior technology, and a ruthless determination to expand their territory. What they hadn't expected was human resourcefulness. In her private console, Chen reviewed images of Earth cities under shields, people living in underground bunkers, the last resistance cells holding out against overwhelming odds. The Astrian blockade prevented ships from leaving or entering Earth's atmosphere. Food was growing scarce. Medical supplies were running low. The Defiance was Plan Z, the last option when all others had failed. A message from engineering appeared on her console. Updated calculations from Kaido on the protocol's power consumption. They would have one shot, maybe two if they were extremely lucky. "Navigation to Captain," came a voice over the comm. "We've detected an anomaly ahead. Possible Astrine minefield." Chen stood immediately, maintain maximum stealth, and plot a course around it. As she returned to the bridge, she studied the faces of her crew. They were tired and afraid, but determined. They all knew what was at stake. With Earth under blockade and colonies in ruins, Captain Chen led her crew of specialists on what appeared to be a suicide mission. Penetrate the heart of Astrine space and strike at the Empire's neural center. The fate of humanity rested on their success. "New course plotted, Captain," announced the navigation officer. "ETA to Astrine space now 17 hours. Proceed," Chen ordered, settling back into her command chair. The mission had begun, and there was no turning back. The UES Defiance glided silently through the darkness of space, its advanced stealth systems making it nearly invisible against the backdrop of stars. They had crossed the border into Astrine territory 4 hours ago. So far, they had avoided detection by 5 patrol vessels and a major checkpoint. Chen stood in the ship's tactical room, studying the 3-dimensional holographic display of their position relative to Astria Prime. Lieutenant Zhao worked the controls to zoom in on the Imperial capital. "Our latest intelligence package came from resistance operatives who infiltrated an Astrine military installation," he explained, fingers moving through the hologram to highlight key structures. "We've confirmed what we suspected." The hologram shifted to show a towering crystalline structure at the center of the capital city. Their entire military neural network runs through this central hub on Astria Prime. Zhou continued, pointing to the structure. "It's both their greatest strength and their fatal weakness." Chen leaned closer, examining the building. "What defenses are we looking at?" "Heavy planetary shields, orbital platforms, and at least 4 battle groups stationed in orbit at all times," Zhao replied. "But the Resistance provided us with shield frequencies and patrol schedules. There's a narrow window where we might slip through if we time it perfectly." Chen nodded solemnly. "The operatives who gathered this intelligence didn't make it," Zhao confirmed quietly. "They sacrificed themselves to get this to us. The Resistance comprised brave individuals from all worlds conquered by the Astrines. Humans fought alongside other subjugated species, united by their hatred of the Empire. Many had paid the ultimate price to give the Defiance this chance. "Captain to bridge," she said into her communicator. "Set course for approach vector 3. Maintain maximum stealth." As they left the tactical room, Commander Wallace met them in the corridor. "The crew is on edge," he reported. "Word has spread that we're deep in Imperial territory." "Let them be on edge," Chen said. "It will keep them sharp, but remind them what we're fighting for. If we succeed, we liberate not just Earth, but hundreds of worlds." Wallace nodded and departed to speak with the crew. Chen made her way to the bridge where the main view screen showed the distant glow of Astrea Prime's star system. They were still 2 hours away at their current speed. "Status report," Chen ordered as she took her command chair. "All systems nominal, Captain," responded Lieutenant Reyes. "Stealth systems operating at 99% efficiency." "We're detecting heavy communication traffic ahead," Dr. Rivera added. "The Astrean fleet is extremely active in this sector." Chen considered this information. High fleet activity could make their approach more difficult, but might also provide more background noise to hide their presence. "Show me the patrol patterns," she ordered. A tactical display appeared showing the movements of Astrean warships throughout the system. They moved with machine-like precision, following exact patterns at exact intervals. "Their predictability is another weakness," Zhao observed. "Once you understand their patterns, you can find the gaps." For the next hour, they watched and analyzed, searching for the perfect approach vector. The severing protocol required them to get relatively close to the neural hub on the planet's surface, which meant penetrating orbital defenses and the planetary shield. "I think I found our window," Zhao finally announced. "There's a scheduled communication synchronization cycle on the southern shield grid in approximately 60 minutes. It only lasts for 4 minutes, but during that time, there's a vulnerability we could exploit." Chen nodded. "Navigator, can you get us there in time?" "Yes, Captain, but we'll need to increase speed, which might make us more detectable." It was a calculated risk. Chen weighed the options and made her decision. "Proceed. Get us there." The Defiance adjusted course and increased speed, heading directly for the Astrean homeworld. As they approached the outer defense perimeter, tension on the bridge intensified. Every officer focused intently on their stations, knowing that a single mistake could mean their destruction. They successfully navigated past the first line of defense ships, using a debris field from an old battle to mask their approach. The second line proved more challenging, requiring them to power down non-essential systems and drift through at minimal power. As they neared the final approach to Astrea Prime, Engineer Cato's voice came urgently over the comm system. "Captain, we have a problem. A patrol has detected our gravity signature." The bridge fell silent. Chen's expression remained calm despite the surge of adrenaline. Years of command experience had taught her that showing panic would only spread it to the crew. "Battle stations," she ordered firmly. "Tactical, show me the patrol that detected us." The view screen shifted to show a sleek Astrean patrol vessel changing course to investigate their position. "They haven't sent an alert yet," Park reported from communications. "They appeared to be investigating before reporting." "That gives us a chance," Chen said. "Options," Zhao responded immediately. "We could fire a precision shot to disable their communications before they report, but that would confirm our presence to any other nearby vessels." The navigator offered another suggestion. "There's a dense asteroid cluster nearby. If we can reach it before they get a visual confirmation, we might lose them." Chen considered both options. Neither was ideal. "Third option," she said. "We use a focused electromagnetic pulse to temporarily disable their sensors. They'll think it was a natural phenomenon from the nearby star." "That could work," Cato said over the comm. "But we'd need to modify our defensive array to emit the correct frequency. It would take a few minutes." "Do it," Chen ordered. "Helm, bring us about and prepare to execute a controlled burn maneuver toward that patrol ship on my mark. We need to get close enough for the EMP to be effective." The next few minutes were a carefully orchestrated dance. The Defiance adjusted position, staying just out of visual range of the patrol ship, while Kaido and his team reconfigured the defensive systems. Modifications complete, Captain, Kaido reported. EMP ready to deploy, but will need to be within 4,000 kilometers for maximum effectiveness. Navigator, bring us in. Tactical, he ready to fire conventional weapons if this fails. The Defiance moved closer to the unsuspecting patrol ship, which was still scanning the area where they had detected the anomaly. In range in 3, 2, 1. Mark, called the navigator. Deploy EMP, Chen ordered. A silent, invisible pulse erupted from the Defiance, washing over the Astrian patrol vessel. Immediately, its lights flickered and went out. Direct hit, Joe confirmed. Their systems are offline. Estimated recovery time is 6 minutes. Long enough, Chen said. Resume course to Astria Prime, maximum speed. We need to reach that shield gap before they recover and sound the alarm. As they raced toward the planet, Chen knew they had just used up some of their limited luck. The mission was growing more dangerous by the minute, but they were now too close to turn back. The humans had penetrated deep into enemy territory, and their target was now in sight. The Empire Breaker. Alarms blared throughout the UES Defiance as the ship rocketed toward Astria Prime. The disabled patrol vessel had recovered faster than expected and sent out an alert. Now, every Astrian ship in the vicinity was converging on their position. 5 warships approaching from Sector 2. Lieutenant Zhao announced, his voice tense but controlled. 3 more from Sector 5. Estimated intercept in 4 minutes. Captain Chen gripped the arms of her command chair, mind racing through possible escape routes. None looked promising. We're too close to turn back now, she said firmly. Navigation. Plot a course through the Helios debris field. The navigator looked up in surprise. Captain, that field is extremely dense. The risk of collision is higher than the risk of being destroyed by those warships. Chen finished. The debris will provide cover and might slow down our pursuers. The navigator nodded and began plotting the dangerous course. All hands, brace for evasive maneuvers. Commander Wallace announced shipwide. Medical teams, stand by for potential casualties. The Defiance veered sharply as the first Astrian energy beams sliced through space where they had been moments before. The ship shuddered as its engines strained to deliver maximum speed. Entering debris field now, the navigator reported. Massive chunks of destroyed ships and asteroids filled the view screen, some as small as shuttles, others larger than the Defiance itself. The ship wove between them, the hull groaning under the stress of rapid direction changes. A massive explosion rocked the bridge as an Astrian energy beam struck their rear shields. Direct hit to aft shields. The defensive systems officer shouted. Shield integrity at 72%. Another blast struck nearby, destroying a piece of debris and sending deadly fragments spinning toward them. The ship lurched to avoid the largest pieces, but smaller chunks peppered the hull like bullets. 2 Astrian warships have followed us into the field, Zhao reported. The others are moving to block our exit vectors. Chen nodded grimly. Keep going. Push the engines to maximum. The Defiance continued its desperate flight through the debris field, taking hits from both pursuing ships and collision damage from unavoidable fragments. A tremendous crash echoed through the ship, followed by the screech of tearing metal. Engineering to bridge. Kaido's voice came over the comm, tense but controlled. We've sustained damage to Engine 2. Coolant leak detected. Can you contain it? Chen asked. Working on it, but we're running hot. The engine core is overheating. We can maintain current speed for 12 minutes, maybe less. Chen turned to tactical. How far to firing range of Astria Prime? Approximately 10 minutes at current speed, Zhao replied, understanding her intention immediately. Then we have one chance. Navigation. Plot the most direct course out of this field toward the target. The Defiance burst from the debris field, engines glowing dangerously bright, as they pushed beyond safe limits. 3 Estrine warships immediately opened fire, their energy beams converging on the human vessel. The ship rocked violently as hit after hit struck their weakening shields. "Shields at 45% and falling," reported the defensive officer. "Deploy countermeasures," Chen ordered. From launch tubes along the Defiance's hull, dozens of small drones shot out in all directions. Each carried specialized equipment designed by Earth's best electronic warfare experts. They began broadcasting false signal patterns, creating phantom sensor readings on Estrine targeting systems. The effect was immediate. Estrine weapons fire became erratic, missing the Defiance more often than hitting as their automated targeting systems became confused by multiple contradictory readings. "It's working," Zhao exclaimed. "Their hit rate has dropped by 65%. Using the momentary advantage, the Defiance pushed forward toward Astria Prime. The beautiful blue-green planet grew larger on their view screen, its orbital defense platforms now turning their attention to the intruder. "Approaching planetary defense shield," the navigator announced. "The synchronization window begins in 45 seconds. Those 45 seconds felt like hours as the Defiance absorbed more hits from the pursuing warships. A particularly violent impact sent several bridge officers flying from their stations. "Shields at 30%, the defensive officer reported, returning to her station. "Shield window opening now," navigation called out. "Take us in," Chen ordered. The Defiance dived toward the planet's surface, slipping through the brief gap in the defensive shield grid. Orbital defense platforms fired continuously, but the drone countermeasures continued to confuse their targeting. Another explosion rocked the ship, more violent than before. "Direct hit to our starboard side," Kaido reported, his voice barely audible over the alarms in the background. "Engine core temperature critical. We can maintain position for 8 minutes, maybe less." "That's all we need," Chen responded. "Tactical. What's our position relative to the target?" "Coming into optimal position now," Zhao replied. "We're directly above the Imperial complex where the neural hub is housed." The view screen showed the sprawling complex below them, a massive structure of gleaming crystal and metal. At its center rose the neural spire that controlled the entire Estrian military. The ship shuddered again as more hits landed. Sparks flew from a console, and emergency lighting kicked in as primary power fluctuated. "Shields at 18%, the defensive officer reported. "Hull breach on decks 4 through 6. Emergency bulkheads engage." "Casualty reports coming in from all sections," Wallace added grimly. "Medical teams are overwhelmed." Another violent impact threw several crew members to the floor. "Shields critical. 7%. Shouted the defensive officer as she pulled herself back to her station. "We're in optimal position for the severing protocol," Zhao announced, "ready to deploy on your command." Chen took a deep breath. This was it, the moment that would determine the fate of humanity. "Divert all remaining power to the severing protocol," she ordered. "Prepare to fire." "Protocol charged and ready," Dr. Rivera confirmed from her station. Targeting the neural hub. The ship rocked again as another hit landed. Warning lights flashed across every console. "Fire," Chen ordered. There was no beam of light, no dramatic explosion, just a subtle ripple in the space around them as the quantum disruptor activated. The severing protocol sent its carefully calibrated quantum wave toward the neural hub below. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Chen held her breath. Then, one by one, the Estrine ships pursuing them began to drift. Their weapons stopped firing. The orbital platforms went dark. "Captain, I'm detecting massive system failures throughout the Estrine fleet," Park reported from communications, disbelief in her voice. "Their neural network it's collapsing." "The protocol worked," Rivera said, her voice filled with wonder. "The quantum wave is disrupting their neural connections. The effect is cascading throughout their entire military system." On the view screen, they watched as Estrine warships drifted aimlessly. Some collided with each other, their navigational systems offline. Others powered down completely. "We did it," Wallace whispered, breaking the stunned silence on the bridge. But Chen's relief was short-lived as the Defiance shuddered violently. "Captain, our engine core is reaching critical levels," Kaido warned. "We need to shut it down, or it will breach in approximately 4 minutes. Can we reach a safe distance from the planet in that time?" Chen asked. "Negative, but I might be able to vent the excess plasma and buy us a few more minutes." "Do it," Chen ordered. As Kaido and his engineering team fought to save the ship, Chen turned her attention back to the planet below. Something unexpected was happening. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," Park said, surprise evident in her voice. It's from the Astrine High Council." "Put it through," Chen ordered. The view screen flickered, then showed the face of an Astrine. Their skin a pale blue, eyes large and silver. The Astrine appeared disoriented, almost confused. "Human vessel," the Astrine said, their voice melodic despite the obvious distress. "What have you done?" "We've severed your military neural network," Chen replied simply. "Your forces are no longer connected to the central hub." The Astrine's expression changed to something Chen couldn't quite read. Was it relief? "Then it is over," the Astrine said. "The gods' hold on us is broken." Chen frowned. "What do you mean?" "For centuries, we have been enslaved by the celestial gods, entities that invaded our minds through the neural network. They controlled our military, forced us to expand, to conquer. We were prisoners in our own bodies." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. The Astrines hadn't been conquerors by choice. They had been puppets. "With the neural network disabled, their control is broken," the Astrine continued. "For the first time in generations, we can think for ourselves again." "Captain," Kaido's voice came over the comm. "I've stabilized the engine core. We have limited propulsion capability." "Stand by," Chen replied, then turned back to the view screen. "If what you say is true, then prove it. Order your remaining functional ships to withdraw from Earth and all human colonies." The Astrine nodded. "It will be done. We seek only peace now that we have our freedom." Hours later, as the damaged but victorious Defiance limped away from Astrea Prime, reports began coming in from across the galaxy. Astrine forces were withdrawing from all conquered territories. Ships that still had operational systems were returning to their homeworld. Those without power were sending distress signals, requesting assistance. "It's actually happening," Wallace said as he and Chen reviewed the reports in her ready room. "The war is over." "Not over," Chen corrected. "Just changing into something else." She looked at the latest communication from Earth. The first ships of a hastily assembled rescue fleet were already on their way to rendezvous with the Defiance. "What do you think will happen now?" Wallace asked. Chen considered the question. "Rebuild, heal, and perhaps find a new relationship with the Astrines. They were victims too, in their way." "The irony isn't lost on me," Wallace remarked. "The only species the celestial gods feared enough to control so completely was humans. Because we're unpredictable," Chen said. "We don't operate with the efficiency of a hive mind. We're messy, chaotic, individualistic, and that makes us dangerous to entities that rely on perfect control." 1 month later, the UES Defiance returned to Earth, escorted by a fleet of Earth's remaining warships. Captain Chen stood on the bridge as they approached the blue-green planet, tears in her eyes at the sight of home. Earth had suffered greatly, but it had survived. And now, with the Astrine Empire transformed from enemy to potential ally, humanity faced a new challenge: helping a former enemy reclaim their autonomy while rebuilding their own civilization. As the Defiance entered Earth orbit, Chen received one final communication from Astrea Prime. "Captain Chen," the Astrine High Counselor said, "our historians have uncovered something interesting. The celestial gods that enslaved us had conquered many species across the galaxy, but they always avoided direct contact with humans. Now we understand why. Your individualism, your chaos, your unpredictability. These were anathema to beings of pure order. In all the universe, they feared only one species, humans, Chen said. Indeed, the Astrine replied, it seems the universe has much to learn from your kind. As the Defiance began its final approach to Earth's orbital dock, Chen looked at her crew, battered, exhausted, but victorious. A single ship had changed the course of galactic history not through overwhelming force, but through understanding the enemy's weakness and exploiting it with precision. Humanity had done what it did best, survived against impossible odds through ingenuity, determination, and the willingness to take enormous risks. The alien gods had feared only one species, humans, and now the galaxy would discover why.